Like, got Aaliyah Boston in the face and then, brushed back. Got her in the eye. And a lot of people are wondering is like, first of all, why was this not an ejection? And should it be a suspension? In my opinion, the reason why it's not an ejection in the game is because there is enough.
Keep a close eye on that replay, because what happened between Brittney Griner and Aaliyah Boston was no mistake. The fact that Griner stayed in the game without being kicked out is a perfect example of how the league handles its star players differently. During last night's Unrivaled game, we saw a clear display of the double standards currently affecting women's basketball. Griner reached right across Boston's face and hit her in the eye. Despite seeing this, the referees brushed it off as a routine play. This wasn't just your average hard foul, and the lack of serious penalty says a lot about the current state of the game.
The question is now, should there be a suspension for Brittney Griner? And now that is a different question. Should there be a suspension for Brittney Griner? For me, the answer is yes. Because the reason why, in real time, you could definitely chalk this up as being unintentional. But then after she got... Look, the ball's nowhere to... Like, she goes... Griner makes no attempt to grab the ball here. Like, Griner is nowhere near the ball. She's not within a meter of the ball. The ball is not within a meter of her by the time...
Take a look at the evidence. Griner isn't even trying to go for the ball. She's nowhere close to it. In fact, the ball is over 3 feet away when she strikes Boston in the face. To understand why this happened, you have to look at the play right before it. The two got tangled up, and you could see the frustration building. There's a long history of tension between these two from their WNBA games, and it boiled over here. Boston has a habit of keeping her arms high during her drop steps. While that's allowed in the rules, it's a move meant to invite contact. Griner usually answers back with a very physical style of play. This specific hit wasn't planned from the start of the game, but it was definitely a reaction to what happened just 25 seconds earlier. The most shocking part? The referees called a basic foul. They didn't even consider it a serious penalty, essentially telling everyone to just move on and ignore what clearly looked like a deliberate move.
It is a bit of a concern because they're not going to be. Because it is Aaliyah Boston. Realistically, because it's Aaliyah Boston, it's not going to be seen as a concern because, unfortunately, because of proximity to Caitlin Clark, amongst the WNBA media, it's fair game. Aaliyah Boston is fair game. Like, it's Aaliyah Boston's fair game, Lexi Hull's fair game, Sophie Cunningham's fair game. You are allowed go out and try to hurt an Indiana Fever player. Heck, Sydney Colson was fair game when JC Sheldon jumped through her knee. Like, the ball,
This situation highlights a double standard that is hard to ignore. The Unrivaled League has built its entire brand on being player safety first. They're usually incredibly cautious. If someone has a minor ache or a slightly sore ankle, they're benched immediately just to be safe. Their whole message is about protecting the athletes and creating a healthy, long-term environment for the sport. However, that concern for safety seems to vanish when it involves a major star. When one player clearly lashes out at another with a move that could cause a serious injury, the league suddenly stops being cautious. Suddenly, it's just a part of the game. We're expected to believe this was just a clumsy accident, despite the clear evidence that it was more than that. It's the same issue we've seen in the WNBA for years, and now Unrivaled is repeating the same mistakes. It's likely because many of the people managing and reporting on this new league are the same ones who have been part of the old system for a long time.
If Aaliyah caught Brittney Griner with this, I fully believe that Aaliyah would be suspended by Unrivaled. I fully believe it. But because in the psychotic world of the WNBA, Fever players are fair game. Whether that's fair game from commentators, fair game from the media, fair game from other players. You are allowed to attack their characters. You are allowed to attack them as people. You are allowed to attack their looks. You're allowed to attack their whatever about. I'm not even going to say criticize. You're allowed to attack their skill set. You're allowed to attack where they're from. You're allowed to attack where they were born. You're allowed to attack their views. Fever players.
It's time to talk about the elephant in the room that most people are avoiding. There's a clear trend where players on the Indiana Fever are treated as fair game in a way others are not. This isn't just about a few hard fouls. Think back to Caitlin Clark's first year. She dealt with constant hip checks and late hits that were brushed off as rookie initiations. We've seen the same thing with Lexi Hull and Sophie Cunningham. Even worse, look at when J.C. Shelton slid into Sydney Carlson's knees from behind. In any other sport, that's an automatic penalty for a dangerous play. It resulted in an injury, yet the league barely reacted. The pattern is hard to miss. It seems like the usual rules of respect and safety don't apply if you're wearing a Fever jersey. Whether it's physical hits on the court or personal attacks on their character and appearance, these players are fastened.
I don't think in general that something like this you could say, oh yeah, is worthy of a suspension. But when it comes to Unrivaled and it being this buddy league and players, you don't actually have to play. We'll just you can pay to train. You don't have to play. This isn't a real sports league type thing. At the end of the day, it is like it's one of those things where
ask yourself this. If the roles had been reversed, would the league have reacted the same way? If Aaliyah Boston had hit Brittney Griner in the face with that exact same motion, it's hard to imagine the outcome being so quiet. Based on what we've seen lately, there likely would have been immediate demands for a suspension. Commentators would be calling the play dangerous and out of control, focusing on the need to protect veteran stars. The league's leadership, many of whom have been vocal critics of how the Indiana Fever are handled, probably would have stepped in quickly. Instead, because it was Griner hitting Boston, the narrative has flipped. People are now debating if Boston's physical style invited the hit or if her own aggressive play means she shouldn't complain about a hand to the face. That is a complete failure of the safety standards the league claims to uphold. Real players' safety shouldn't depend on who is doing the hitting.
It's not just a little small bit of history. Like we've seen Brittney Griner swing elbows. We've seen Aaliyah Boston. Aaliyah Boston does Aaliyah Boston things. When she drops steps, she keeps her arms high, and it's very like. And the thing is, like, it's ironically, based on the rules of basketball, it is a perfectly legal elbow to the face. Like, she's in her cylinder. There's nothing wrong with it in the rules of basketball, but she does elbow people in the face. Let's be very clear here. It is, Aaliyah Boston absolutely will hit someone with the legal elbow to the face.
Technically, you can see why the refs didn't kick her out right then and there. In the heat of the moment, without the luxury of slow-motion replays, it's easy to wonder if a hit was just a clumsy accident. Officials have to make calls in the blink of an eye, and if there's even a tiny bit of doubt about a player's intent, they usually lean toward keeping them on the floor. But we aren't watching it in real time anymore. We have the benefit of every camera angle, and the footage tells a different story. We can see the tension from the previous play. We can see that Griner wasn't even looking at the ball. She went straight for Boston's face. Now, the ball is in the league's court. Will Unrivaled step up and issue a suspension after reviewing the tape? Will they admit that even if the refs missed it live, the evidence clearly shows a dangerous, retaliatory move? Or will they follow the old WNBA script, sweep it under the rug, and hope the fans forget about it by tomorrow?
Let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. Do you guys think that she should be, Griner should be suspended? Do you guys think Brittney Griner or Aaliyah Boston deserved it? If you think the latter, genuinely crazy. But yeah, it is what it is. That's the video. Thank you guys for watching. Please like, comment.
This situation is so frustrating because anyone who wants women's basketball to grow knows this was a missed opportunity. Unrivaled had the perfect chance to set a new standard, to show they actually care about safety for every player, not just when it's convenient. Instead, they are repeating the same mistakes as the WNBA. We're seeing the same selective rules, the same double standards, and the same habit of looking the other way when a star crosses the line. This inconsistency really hurts the league's credibility with fans who are paying close attention. The clash between Brittney Griner and Aaliyah Boston isn't just about one foul. It's about a culture that celebrates physical play until someone gets seriously hurt, then acts surprised. It's about a media world where certain players are always protected while others are always blamed, no matter what the footage shows. Look at the big picture. Millions of new fans started watching because of players like Caitlin Clark. They watched her get hammered with hard fouls all season while the league just shrugged it off. Now, those same fans are tuning into Unrivaled, hoping for something better, only to see the exact same unfair treatment. If the league keeps choosing favorites over fair rules, they're going to lose the very audience they worked so hard to get. When Boston gets hit in the face and the league stays silent, the message is loud and clear. If you play for the Fever, the rules meant to protect you don't seem to apply. It's easy for critics to point out that Aaliyah Boston plays a physical game, but let's be honest about the difference. Boston uses her elbows and keeps her arms high. It's a tough, legal way to play that stays within the rules of the game. It's meant to create space, not to injure. What Griner did was completely different. It wasn't a basketball move. It was a deliberate act of retaliation. Trying to say those two things are the same is exactly how this dangerous behavior keeps getting a pass. We know these two have a history. The tension between the Fever and the Mercury has been building for years, and competitive fire is great for the sport. But that fire doesn't give anyone the right to strike a player in the face. The league needs to step up. Unrivaled should review the footage, admit this went too far, and issue a one-game suspension. That's the only way to prove that player safety isn't just a marketing slogan, and that retaliation has no place on the court.